President Donald Trump announced that tariffs on Canada and Mexico will begin next month. This decision ends a month-long suspension of the planned import taxes. These tariffs could negatively impact economic growth and worsen inflation. During a White House news conference, Trump stated that the tariffs are on time and moving along very rapidly. The tariffs are part of Trump's broader strategy to implement reciprocal tariffs starting in April. He has argued that other countries impose unfair import taxes, affecting domestic manufacturing and jobs. Trump claims these tariffs will generate revenue to reduce the federal budget deficit and create new jobs. His assertion is that the country will become extremely liquid and rich again. French President Emmanuel Macron expressed hope that he had convinced Trump to avoid a trade war. He noted the challenges of confronting a traditional ally like Europe while simultaneously addressing China's industrial power. Macron stated, "We do not need a trade war. We need more prosperity together." Economists warn that the costs of these tariffs will likely be passed on to consumers, retailers, and manufacturers. For example, auto companies that rely on global sourcing and materials like steel and aluminum are already facing tariffs of 25%. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed confidence in reaching agreements with the US government before the deadline. Sheinbaum indicated that communication was ongoing and that important agreements were needed soon. Sheinbaum also brought into light that Mexico is urging the US to address drug distribution and consumption within its own borders. Companies such as Walmart have raised concerns about uncertainty due to these tariff announcements. The University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index recently dropped by about 10% amid fears of worsening inflation and tariffs. In the 2024 presidential election, voters supported Trump, believing he could reduce inflation, which had soared to a 4-decade high following the coronavirus pandemic. Despite previous discussions with Canadian and Mexican officials, Trump reiterated his commitment to the tariffs. He emphasized the need for fair competition and smooth trade, as stated by Macron during their joint press conference. Investors and businesses are uncertain whether Trump is using tariffs as a negotiating tactic or genuinely intends to implement them to offset planned income tax cuts. The suspension of tariffs, which was initially set for February, will now be lifted. Trump plans to impose a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and most goods from Canada. However, energy products like Canadian oil and electricity will be taxed at a lower rate of 10%. The rationale behind these tariffs includes pressuring Canada and Mexico to address illegal immigration and drug smuggling, particularly fentanyl. Although little fentanyl originates from Canada, the country has appointed a czar to tackle the issue. Mexico has also deployed 10,000 members of its National Guard to the US border as part of its response. Trump's tariffs will also adjust to match rates charged by other countries. These tariffs may exceed standard rates due to subsidies, regulatory barriers, and value-added taxes, which are similar to sales taxes in Europe. The potential for retaliatory tariffs from Canada, Mexico, and Europe raises concerns about a broader trade conflict. In February, a study from Yale University estimated that the tariffs could reduce average US incomes by $1,170 to $1,245 annually. This marks the economic implications of the proposed tariffs. As the situation develops, businesses and consumers will continue to monitor the potential impacts of these new tariffs on their financial well-being.